Welcome to another episode of the Globally Connected Podcast. We hope you all are doing great. We hope you all are feeling good. We hope you all are enjoying the content. Thank you all for continuing to support the Globally Connected Podcast. Today, we have another great episode for you guys. Today, we are going to be talking about what I learned from my mentor. But get this, we aren't going to actually be talking about actual mentor. We're going to be talking about life as the actual mentor. So that is going to entail us legit talking about things that we learn, things that we experience from life, but also from actual mentors on the global level, local level, educationally, professionally, etc.
So, as we've gone through like our career, we've been really influenced by mentors, as in by people too, like outside of just getting a college education or outside of just getting a job. Like there's special people that come in your life and present to you lessons and also teach you more about being intellectually curious, listening in more, and actually like looking within more and identifying what changes to be made. So we'll talk a bit about this and the lessons we've learned. And I'll start by first asking you, Jerome, like, how do you stay curious actually and continuously learn every day post being like in an education format of life?
Yeah, that's a great question. I stay curious by first and foremost starting within myself. Like I'm curious about myself. Like every day I wake up, obviously I'm the same person, but also every day I don't think the same. So I'm curious about the way that I think starting now. So that leads me in my curiosity to be curious about the external world and like what is going on in the external world and like all of the facets within it. For example, like if I come across a person like, oh, okay, how are they doing? What are they thinking, etc. If I come across a person in the restaurant or the food, I'm curious about the food, etc. So
Mhm.
I start with myself internally and then I work my way towards external factors, which leads my curiosity to just grow exponentially. And also I'm very observant. Like I listen more than I talk. So just me listening and observing what's going on around me and also internally leads me to be curiosity.
Mhm.
How about you?
Yeah, I think along the same lines is like I try to stay curious with life by, looking more into people and their stories and like the why behind why they do what they do. Like not
Yeah.
just what they're doing, but their reasoning behind it. And like you can learn so much from other people. And when you actually want to learn from them, like rather than being in a perspective where you feel like, you have to speak and explain yourself and everything like that, more so like sitting back and listening from another person's experience. Like we personally had an amazing mentor that we met in Senegal, and
Yeah.
he is an incredible guy. And just us being able to sit back and listen from his years of experience, listen from how he formed his business, how he operated with his business partner, like the lessons that he shared with us was so insightful. And it wasn't about us being like, oh, well, this is what we do, this is what we're trying to do, etc. But more so us learning from him and listening. That level of curiosity of like engaging with another person's life can, I think, really help fuel your education post the classroom.
Yeah.
And staying curious about what's going on in present day and staying up to date. Like as we grow too, we can learn from people older than us and we can learn from people younger than us. So
Yeah.
it's also, I think there's a lot that we can learn from the youth as well, and like uprising trends in their time and just things that they know more about than like we know about, and understanding like how it operates. Like, so just being curious about other people, I think.
Hmm. So I'll say, who do you learn the most from? Do you learn the most from an older person, or do you learn the most from someone who's younger than you? And what are your thoughts on actually people who aren't privy or receptive to actually being open to learning from a younger person? But I'll start right there. Who do you learn the most from, or is it actually the same? Do you learn the most, or is it the same level? Do you learn the same from an older person and a younger person? But let's start right there.
I think I learned differently from both, but I would say at this stage in my life, I believe I'm learning more from older people. I
Mm,
think younger people teach me more about the kind of importance of joy and life and staying true to your childhood essence. But I think older people teach me how to navigate obstacles more and how to push myself more. And I really love being challenged by older people.
yeah.
Even if it feels uncomfortable, it really helps because they can actually pick out like a mistake that you're making, and they can criticize you in a way that's very good for your self reflection, to be like, okay, because they have years and years of life experience and they've seen so many people and they've made these mistakes too. So it's like when an older person kind of can pinpoint what you're doing wrong or what you could change, I find that very, very valuable. And I feel like I get that a lot more from an older person. But younger people have so many strong suits too that I learn from as well. And they also teach me a lot about actually like what's important in like rising trends too, and like what, how they live life like fully. And I feel like the youth is so smart nowadays too, like they know so much about everything, so it just also teaches you more about the power of connectivity and like information sharing and everything. That's my perspective. How about you? What do you feel like influences or teaches you more, like younger or older people, and how?
Yeah, I would say at this stage of my life, kind of similar to you, but what I will say is I think I'm learning more from the younger people. And I'm young myself. We are both still young ourselves. It just we've gained some more experience now to the point where we can say that we can also learn from younger people, that people younger than us. But I'm thinking that I'm learning a lot more from younger people because we are in different times now where everything is just like more elevated and like transformative compared to our generation as millennials. So I would just say just the way they think, the way they see the world, how they view it, but also how they're able to articulate it to make you kind of not go back to the future, but just like go to a futuristic part of the world that an older person can't take me to because they lived in different times. So, like, I was having a conversation with an associate recently about marketing and branding via social media, and she was providing perspectives on how to do that, where an older person can't tell me how to market and brand myself on social media compared to how she was able to tell it to me. And it's like, wow. And it just keep me on my toes and make me stay young, stay fresh, and just make me adaptable to where an older person can't tell me that. What an older person can tell me is, like you said, help me how to navigate life challenges, how to keep me practical when it comes to actually thinking about life and applying practical strategies to like real world problems, etc. So that's my response to that. And it's kind of weird to say that, but that's just where I'm at in my life. So shout out to the younger people, you
Yeah.
know.
And that made me think of something like how with mentors it's like a two-way streak too. Like even from our older mentors, how we learn so much from them, like how can we as well as the younger generation also teach them about certain different things, and like how it's like a two-way streak, how we can learn from each other, and like the older need the younger need the older. And also this will lead to my follow-up question. So we have seen the importance of mentorship. I've had some incredible, incredible mentors in my life. Um, I've had people from my first job that have really shaped me and taught me like so much about everything I know, and also just taught me about how to navigate business as a woman as well. Also taught me about how to be a good leader. And I really appreciate my mentors. So how can someone go about finding a mentor? What advice would you give for them to find one?
I would say number one, start internally and just know that you can't do it all by yourself. And
Mm,
that a mentor is not a parent. I think a lot of people, this is subjective, but I think a lot of people don't seek out mentors because they think mentors are parents and just trying to actually right all of their wrongs within them. That's not the case. So I
mhm,
think the definition of how you define a mentor should be identified and defined within you first before you go seek a mentor. And
right.
once you define the mentor in the appropriate context, then I would say seek a mentor that could help you navigate effectively how to set strategies to achieve whatever goal or task that you're trying to complete. For example, if you're trying to start a business and you need a mentor on how to start a business, seek a mentor who has been successful in it, not monetarily, or however you want to scale that or level weight that. Just find somebody who has been like a positive person and just doing great things in business, right? And
Right.
just ask them questions about how were they able to get to where they have gotten to, and just listen and take in what they're able to give you, and just take that constructive criticism that they are providing to you as what that is, which is constructive criticism, not criticism to actually deter you or steer you in the wrong direction from what you are doing, but it's constructive criticism to actually help you become effective in whatever it is you're trying to get to, whether that's to get to where they're at or even get past them. So I will also say find a mentor who is not afraid of you potentially getting past them on the ladder.
Mm.
That's another thing to think. But I would just say start right there. Just seek a mentor. Just go about being open to constructive criticism, being coachable. Because I had a mentor at one point in time, and it stuck with me still to this day. And I wrote it down. He said, "Be coachable.
I
You
see.
have to be coachable." So that's words of the wise from
Yeah.
myself. What do you think about that? And I also like to hear your perspective as well.
Yeah. No, I think that's awesome. And I'd love for you to share more insight into like how can someone be more coachable? Like what can you do to be more coachable as a person?
Yeah, I would say you got to be, man. It's kind of, I'll kind of correlate it to basketball, man. It's like you got to be a student of the game. You got to like just be willing to just sit and wait your turn and
Mhm.
just study film, you know. But let's switch it to educational context. You come into a class, you're not the teacher, you're the student, just sitting there listening to the teacher give you the curriculum, coach you on how to actually become a successful student in order to pass the test, in order to pass the quizzes, in order to get that grade of an A. So I would just say, just have your ears open and just sit and listen. You know what I'm saying? But the main thing with being coachable is you got to ask questions. It's a
Mhm.
difference between being coachable, but being coachable where you can actually apply what you learn. So, and to be coachable, to apply what you learn, you got to listen, but also ask questions, and you got to apply the insight that you get from those questions. So, I hope I answered your question though. But that's what
Yeah.
I.
No, for sure. No, that's great. And yeah, like being open to that feedback, being open to listen and being open to criticism. Like I'll say what I love about my mentors is like they all in a way have like shown me some level of tough love and I love that. Like it can feel uncomfortable maybe in the beginning like dang, like am I doing everything wrong or something? But actually like that tough love moves the needle so much more than like constant validation or something. Like it's so helpful when someone goes like, "Oh, you what you're doing is you need to change that. Like you need
Mhm.
to change that and you should look into this or oh, what you're doing is not moving the needle." Like they're very direct and I love that. And I think it's like it can be uncomfortable, but they're speaking from a wisdom perspective. So it's like they're speaking from experience and they're also not speaking in a way that's like, oh, you're doing this wrong, but it's more so like, I've made these mistakes in the past too. And let me try to help you avoid them, or let me try to teach you what I learned so you can navigate through this. So I really love when mentors have tough love, and I respect it a lot. But I would say mentors are going back to the question of finding mentors. Mentors are all around you.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like if you just think about your day to day life, like they're actually all around you. And even on LinkedIn, you can find mentors all around you. And just like when you're going through life and you meet someone and you're like, wow, like they're so inspiring. Like they really built a name for themselves and they're doing really great. Or wow, they're a great leader. Like that in itself is someone that would make a great mentor for you. And most of the time, I would say people are more open to being mentors than not because relatively as people most of us all like to help others, like we like to help each other and they want to see like you succeed, like they also see something in you, especially if it's someone you have a relationship with, like in a work environment or as a friend or something, and they see something in you, like they see that spark in you and this willingness to want to do something and they'd love to play a part in your journey. Like for me, if I'm ever in a position where I can mentor others, I'd absolutely love to do that because like I would want to inspire someone to do better for themselves, to feel good about themselves, to like talk about their vision and how they can achieve it if I can actually provide good feedback. And if I don't know something, being open enough to say, "Hey, I don't know much about that, but maybe I know someone who could help you learn about that." So mentors are kind of all around you. You just have to be open to talk to people, learn more about them, and don't be afraid to ask like, "Hey, like I think you're a really wonderful person and I'd love to learn more from you. Like, would you be open to like being my mentor, or would you be open to having convos like just about personal development and things like that?" I don't think most of the time people are more open than not open.
I actually want to pivot from an actual mentor to using life as your mentor.
Mhm.
So, how do you use life as your mentor? I'll let you start that off. And do you want to provide some context on what we actually are insinuating by what we are saying to the audience?
Okay, cool. So the way that I use life as my mentor is just through observation, observing like people's behaviors, people's reactions, people's fears, people's likes and dislikes, and kind of what intrinsically motivates people and what they're curious about. So for me, I use life as a teacher in that way, like just literally being open to like learning and just seeing what's going on from an open-minded perspective rather than already placing a judgment on something.
I'll say for me, I use life as a mentor via failures
Mm,
and via like just challenges that take so long to overcome. But life as my mentor taught me that it's just not that time. But
right.
let's start with the failures. I'll say with um trying to get a job, right? Maybe I didn't get that job because life is just telling me that, and this is not always the case, but sometimes life as your mentor is trying to teach you that, nah, I got something better for you. This is not where I want you at this particular time. I want to challenge you to be something greater. I want to challenge you to start that business. I want to challenge you to become a stock investor. And
Mhm.
you actually taking this job is going to take away the time that you need to dedicate to what it is that I have for you. So that's one thing that life can teach you as a mentor. Also, if you're a sports player or just learning an instrument, right? It's going to be hard and challenging to learn how to read them notes in order to learn how to play a piano, correct? But life is going to teach you that you need to practice, you need to put in the hours. The saying is, it takes 10,000 hours to become a master at something, right? That is something like life is going to teach you. So those are just some like small notes and nuggets that I have as far as like how life has taught me how to be, how life has been my mentor, because it's been so many things in my life that I've experienced that I would thought was failures, but actually it was learning lessons. And it's something that life will teach you how to apply in
Mhm.
order to become that mentor that life is for you. So yeah, that's
That's
pretty.
great feedback for sure. Like you do learn a lot from challenges in life and roadblocks and obstacles, and it kind of teaches you how to pivot or leads you more into what you need to do.
Yeah, it just make you more quick on your toes, and also just make you more like intellectually aware on just how to become more effective as a person the older you get. And I feel like that's the entire purpose of life. And that's the entire purpose of mentorship. So you guys see how we equated the two, life as the mentor, but also people as the mentor. Different things, same title, and the alignment is the exact same.
No, that's great perspective. So I'd love to, pivot and ask, like, for you, who some of your mentors are personally, and what you've learned from your direct mentors in life as people as well.
Yeah, I have a few, but I'll start with one. Shout out to Chip. That's my mentor. He started a nonprofit called Greatest Minds, and he picked me up on the side of the street in Georgia State when I was just walking down the alleyway, if you remember downtown. And he just saw something in me, and I just like how he always was like, figure it out. If I had a question, and say for example, if I had a question like how to market this event or something, he always said, figure it out. In the present moment, I didn't know what he meant by figure it out. But as time passed and life passed, life became my mentor, and it was like he meant figure it out by actually utilizing my brain to think as far as leaning on him for everything. So I was like, dang, that makes sense. And so I actually use that same method now. But that's one thing, and always just showing up for your people. You know, I could never discount one time that Chip never showed up for us. He took us on the trip to Philadelphia, all expense trip paid. And he just was there for his people. You know, he's the leader. We are the troops, you know, following the command of the leadership, which is the goal of Ignite community and mentorship for young men. So that was just one, but he just also always led by actions. And that's another thing that mentors should be good for. Finally, find a mentor that's good for leading by actions and not words all the time. So that's one.
Great advice. Yeah.
Another mentor is Karen Locke, professional Dr. Locke. She is a mentor of mine because I remember when we had started our master's program, I thought that the way that you learn the curriculum and apply what you learn to like be able to pass class and complete assignments was the exact same, but come to find out it's totally different. So I just remember like I was struggling when her class first started. So after every class, I did this probably 3 times. I would call her or stay on the call and just ask like, hey, I'm going over the material and whatever, but I'm not passing these classes or these tests. So I asked her like, let's talk about this and let's go over it together and like figure out what am I doing wrong. So she would just stay back with me, give me feedback, et cetera, and just her method of how to actually apply what you're learning, but not in the textbook way, but in a way that you'll interpret it, is what was able to get me through that class. And from there, we have a professional and a personal relationship. And she just teaches me about life, how to stay balanced, how to stay grounded, and just how to just not get caught up in like the stresses of what comes from life. And so that's a mentor of mine because she also taught me to be there for your people, but also just be tough, but not the type of tough that will force people away from you, but also be tough to not care about if people like you or not. And that's also a lot of things that people get in the way because the objective is to not be liked. The objective is to be respected. And that's the number one lesson I got from Karen. Because as you know, in our class, a lot of students didn't like her approach. But the more and more I got to know her and just talk about it privately, she explained to me that. So those are 2 off the top of my head that I can share with you.
No, those are some great mentors. Shout out Dr. Locke. She's incredible. We learned a lot from her. And like, you know, even when we sit and talk with her now, even years after our master's program, like it's always super, super insightful. And I always leave like in deep thought on my car ride home. And that's what mentors do. They make you really ponder and question things in yourself too, and like actually help you do that deep inner work. So it's very valuable.
Yeah. And she's still going, man. She's very much, you know, more experienced than you are. She's still going. She still wakes up at 5 a.m. in the morning, still getting a workout in. And I take that like that's a mentor and the leader setting an example. So
exactly.
Yeah, man, that's what we got. Any lasting thoughts before we get out of here?
Oh, that's it. And you know, we can all take from this to be consistent in our actions as well, so that we can be better mentors for others in the future too. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and good luck finding some mentors and show appreciation to the mentors that you already have. So take care, everybody.
We thank you all for your continuing support. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share with others because this episode and what we are talking about is very insightful and can be helpful to others worldwide, you know, etc. So we thank you guys again for another episode. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next week. Thanks.